for patients by patients, right? Um, so the Fountain House, 1948, right? It was a nonprofit organization dedicated to enhancing mental health. So the mission was to improve everyone's well-being, create opportunities, eliminate social and economic isolation. So basically, if you're reading the Road to Recovery, right, the Village, right, Helen, this is pretty
Yes.
much what the Village was, and the Village was cool. You go in there, you could not tell who was staff and who was a member. Right? We shared the same restrooms. Like you could not tell who was who. It was pretty freaking cool. And we treated everyone like someone. Everyone got to come in and just feel, you know, feel accepted and like they had a place to go. And that's what these fountain houses were. They're like clubhouses, right? So work and transitional employment, let's say, and I'm going to use this off of the Village as well too, because we had employment, right? Helen, we had a deli
Hmm.
where they would have the chance to go ahead and work in the kitchen, have that experience, restaurant skills, whatnot. Then we had janitorial, and then what is it, clerical, right? Working in the
Hmm.
offices. So that was a way for them to try, like practice. It was giving them an opportunity to practice to start before we get in there. For instance, someone's working in the kitchen and he comes in smelling, his hygiene's not good, right? Kevin in the kitchen could be like, yo, Adrian, why don't you come back tomorrow? Or, you know what I mean? Like we talk about skills, hygiene in a loving way, but this is giving them the practice. And basically, this is what work's going to be like. You can't show up to work like that. So coaching them, right? And these are just like, these were opportunities, these houses, these clubhouses to help like mentor, coach, right? Friendly environments where everybody's going to feel like they want to fit in, recreational activities going on, um, facilitated groups facilitated by peer support specialists like us. Right, it gained popularity in the 70s and 80s, and in the 80s, more institutions just shut down. So it grew in California, and the highest population from Prop 63 in 2004, and that's when they were taxing the 1%, right, to go into mental health and funnel that money into the mental health services. Okay, we good? Take a breather. All right, so I dedicate this presentation to my buddy, let's say Pink Floyd right here. I worked with this guy for like 5 6 years. Oh, my buddy. Okay, so defining what psych rehab was. So recover, it's an approach. Okay, so we're going to talk about the medical model. You'll hear recovery model. It's not a model, it's an approach, right? That helps individuals gain independent living, socialization, effective life management skills. We place the person, not the illness, at the center of all interventions. Remember Pat Deegan, right? I am not my disease, or we are not our diagnosis. So we put the person first, person centered. And the wishes, remember this, underlined, bold, partnership. It's working through a partnership, right? All services. So basically doing with rather than doing for. We do it together. Okay. And so basically our lives revolve around relationships. So we're going to be like having some real developing a relationship with these people, right? Um, and so this is, like I say, Pink Floyd. I met him. He was behind. I was outreaching him, working in Long Beach out here, and he was in a Burger King dumpster, right? Living, kicking it back there, and he was just so content and so happy. He'd been homeless for several years, more than 5 years. Okay, he was okay. One, because he was safe, because he had that around him. There were people around. Two, he was always able to get food. They always fed him, and they're bringing out the food. Three, he knew people, got his what is it, his locals, right? His normal people that he would go and say, I'm going to work. And I didn't quite understand what he meant when he was going to work. He meant, I'm going to go panhandle. Oh, okay. That kind of thing. So anyway, it took about 17 times to finally like connect. Okay, where he wanted to be involved with our services, right? He got onto medication management. He went ahead and got on, enrolled in our program, wound up getting a room and board stay, having a place to stay, getting on meds, having social security, getting back on his feet. Okay, but we had to do a lot of work, and you see his thumbnail there. I don't mean to be gross, but you see his nails? We worked on hygiene a lot, talking about goals. So we're going to share some stories on how we talk about, doing with rather than doing for, and not telling anyone what to do. So I'll give you some little stories on how we worked on that. Okay. So is everybody with me so far? I'm not losing anybody yet? Okay, cool. So basically, the treatment for anyone who's coming in and we're going to start working with to help them get their life back and place them at the center of all their interventions. And they're going to ultimately make the choices, right? And these can differ. Everyone's like, it's not a cookie cut recovery for everyone. Each of us don't have the same recovery plan going on, right? We all are different. We're all unique. So it could encompass medication management. It could psychological support, counseling, therapy, family counseling, vocational independent living training, housing assistance, job coaching, educational aid, and social support. Hey, somebody wants to get a girlfriend? We help them get a girlfriend, right? We had that little quiz yesterday. He had Hep C. He's like, dude, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, hey, let's go check it out. Or you're a tall person. Let's go check out a tall group. There's somebody for somebody. So, like I said, I met him. We worked together on hygiene. He wanted to get a girlfriend and go to Catalina for his birthday on a glass bottom boat. Okay. And that was his goal. And that's what we worked on. So, going back into, let's go back to the medical versus the psych rehab approach. Okay. Very important. So, what's the difference between the two, right? In the recovery approach, people decide, okay, so we believe, like in our recovery approach, right, Pat Deegan and all that, but we believe people can and do in fact recovery, right? And their diagnosis is not their destiny. So when we think medical model, they go in, you go in, they're problem focused, they look at all the problems, right? When we're talking about the psych rehab approach, we want to look at all your strengths, baby. What are your strengths? And let's use those strengths to get those things that you need, right? Past failures, right? Medical model, they're going to look at your past. They're going to look at everything going on. They're going to do for you. They're going to tell you exactly what to do. They're not going to really give you any options. Medication compliance, hey, here's your script. Go do this, da, 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 da. Tell you what to do, not give you any options. Persuading, right? If you don't do this, you're going to go to jail, right? If you don't get on your meds, you're going to go to jail. If you don't do this, right? They recommend everything. The doctors recommend everything, or whoever it is you're working for. The professional is the sole expert. We are all the experts of our own lives, because I know Helen cannot be the expert of Luna's life or Adrian's life, right? We are all the experts of our own lives. So how can we have someone sit there, and not hear us? So what we believe as peer support specialists, right, and in this recovery approach, strength-based, right? No matter what. Pink Floyd, right? He was freaking, we just talked music. The guy was hilarious. Just pull out all those strengths that he likes, right? Success oriented. What were the things that you did back in the day? He was a musician. Oh my gosh. He was a mechanic. Oh my gosh. Let's talk about all these successes that you did. Medication compliance, right? They usually programs you hear, they want you to be on your meds or you're not med compliant. We sit there and we talk to you. We educate you about medications. Okay. Pink Floyd didn't want to take meds at first at all, but he was pretty a good one, right? And we just educate him. Dr. Kane was a psychiatrist. I did street medicine. We'd go out and meet with individuals. She'd do her, check in with them. I'd be with her. If they decided they do want to take meds, she'd give me the script. I'd go to the pharmacy, go back and meet them, give them their meds or injection or whatever it is that they needed. Okay. And that's their choice if they wanted to be on medications. And Dr. Kane, let's say they don't. Dr. Kane and I would still meet with them once a month and just talk to them about the hey, did you think about that one? Or, what about this medication? And it took about a year, maybe a year and a half. And they're like, hey, I think I want to try that medication. Wow, what do you know? You just educate them. No pushing onto them, no persuading. We collaborate. We do it together. We talk about this together, right? And it's a partnership, right? We're not going to be recommending everything. Dr. Kane's like, hey, if you want to do this, let's do it. If you don't, that's okay too. It's a partnership. We talk about it. And then, we look at everyone that I know, I do for sure, but as peer support specialists, anyone we work with, they're the experts of their own life. And that's where I'm going to walk into this and knowing that's where I'm going to be walking into this, meeting you where you're at, knowing that you are the expert of your own life. And I'm going to learn from you. All right. Questions, comments? We still good? All right. Okay, cool. Not boring y'all yet? Okay, cool. So what does it look like in action? Okay, psych rehab. So my goal for you and everyone at the end of this training, right at the very end, I my goal is for you to walk away at the end of the day today and be able to see what psych rehab would look like in practice. That you'd be able to see it. Okay. Now we help people set specific goals, right? Like I said, getting a job, stable housing, enrolling in school, health, dating, right? And we're going to help them achieve those goals. And I'm repeating this again through coaching, teaching, planning, and more. Okay. So here, let's say this is Kehulu, okay, that I worked with. Social isolation, depression, drug dependence, challenges with daily activities. You'll hear ADLs, right? Like showering, all that good stuff. He was homeless for 8+ years, unstable housing. He had hypertension, right? So he had really high blood pressure, but he was also doing crystal meth, which wasn't helping. So there was a lot of education with that, right? Significant issues. So we started talking, right? And I'm getting to know him. We talk about strength based, okay? So I'm meeting Kehulu. We're starting to get to know each other. We're talking, and he talks about the Samoan Islands, how he loves the ocean swim. And I was like, oh, I swim in the ocean too. I love it. So we just started, talking, swimming and all this stuff. And you could see him get all glowy, like he got all happy talking about swimming. So I thought, hey, and with Helen and I, we try to connect our members with everything. And here in Long Beach, the Jewish Community Center, they have a beautiful pool. And I was like, hey, Kuhunu, you want to go swim at the pool? Let's go check it out. And so talking about doing with rather than doing for, he agreed to it. So we went and checked it out. And once a week, I got my suit on, he got his suit on. We met in the pool and we did laps, right? Once a week together, that doing with rather than doing for, right? Next thing you know, he's like, hey, wanting to talk about nutrition now, right? Still no meds, doesn't want anything to do with meds. Dr. Kane and I are still talking to him. He's still wanting to do meth. Okay. So he starts feeling good about himself. Okay, he's a big boy. So we're doing laps, right? We're just walking first, back and forth on the laps. Next thing you know, a couple weeks later, he's kind of, and next thing you know, he's chatting it up with the little old ladies doing their aerobics, water aerobics. It was so cute. Okay, who knew? Next thing you know, he's doing an aerobics with them. Oh, yeah, right there. That is natural supports, baby, right? We are providing, remember, so we don't empower them. We provide opportunities for them to empower themselves. Therefore, see, taking them to the pool, boom, automatically he's meeting other supports. So he wants to go on his own, right? And you would never know, um, not just that, but he got really emotional and he was like, wow, what I never would have thought of, being a big guy and going to that pool at the Jewish Community Center. They had big showers in the locker rooms. I mean, huge showers and coconut smelling soap. Man, he was in tears because he said, I've never felt so clean. And I thought that was just so beautiful. You know what I mean? And wanting to meet a chick and all this, he wind up asking Dr. Kane about a medication. He wind up doing injections. Okay. It was beautiful. And then he stopped doing meth. He met a couple ladies, little ladies at the village over there at the deli. We, would talk to them and stuff. But he wound up relapsing. He wound up having a heart attack and he did pass away. Okay. But if you could see, there was a point working with him with what the goal was, right? Looking at his strengths, not his past or anything like that, not pushing medication on him, just working with them, being with them as a human being, man, talking music, talking the Samoa Islands, talking women, all this stuff, it was actually really cool. But if you get my point, that is what psych rehab looks like. Can you see that now? Can you kind of see that? And that's just one example. Okay. Now we're going to, oh my gosh, I'm flying through this, man. You're like flying. Okay, I'm gonna slow down. Woo. Okay, so anybody, and I'm aging myself probably, seen the movie Patch Adams? Okay. Anybody, of Robin Williams, right? Right. He passed away. He was a comedian. I mean, the funniest guy. And then he wound up committing suicide, and no one knew that he struggled with a mental health issue. But everyone saw the smile, but no one saw what was behind. And it's just, he did this movie and it's called Patch Adams. And I believe this is the perfect example of what psych rehab is. Okay. So let's play that. Do me a favor. Give me a thumbs up if you could hear it and see it.
Been accused of practicing medicine without a license. It's a very grave charge, son. Are you aware that it's unlawful to practice medicine without a medical license?
Yes, sir, I am.
Are you aware that running a medical clinic without the proper licensing can place both you and the public in a great deal of danger?
Is a home a clinic, sir?
If you are admitting patients and treating them, physical location is irrelevant.
Yes, sir. Will you define treatment for me?
Yes, treatment would be defined as the care of a patient seeking medical attention. Have you been treating patients, Mr. Adams?
Well, sir, I live with several people. They come and go as they please. I offer them whatever help I can.
Mr. Adams, have you or have you not been treating patients at your ranch?
Everyone who comes to the ranch is a patient, yes. And every person who comes to the ranch is also a doctor.
I'm sorry.
Every person who comes to the ranch is in need of some form of physical or mental help. They're patients. But also every person who comes to the ranch is in charge of taking care of someone else. Whether it's cooking for them, cleaning them, or even a simple task as listening. That makes them doctors. I use that term broadly, gentlemen, but is not a doctor someone who helps someone else? When did the term doctor get treated with such reverence as, oh, right this way, Dr. Smith, or, excuse me, Dr. Scholes, what wonderful foot pads, or, pardon me, Dr. Patterson, but your flatulence has no odor. At what point in history did a doctor become more than a trusted and learned friend who visited and treated the ill? Now, you ask me if I've been practicing medicine. Well, if this means opening your door to those in need, those in pain, caring for them, listening to them, applying a cold cloth until a fever breaks, if this is practicing medicine, if this is treating a patient, then I am guilty as charged, sir.
Did you consider the ramifications of your actions? What if one of your patients had died?
What's wrong with death, sir? What are we so mortally afraid of? Why can't we treat death with a certain amount of humanity and dignity and decency and, God forbid, maybe even humor? Death is not the enemy, gentlemen. If we're going to fight a disease, let's fight one of the most terrible diseases of all, indifference. Now, I've sat in your schools and heard people lecture on transference and professional distance. Transference is inevitable, sir. Every human being has an impact on another. Why don't we want that in a patient-doctor relationship? That's why I've listened to your teachings and I believe they're wrong. A doctor's mission should be not just to prevent death, but also to improve the quality of life. That's why you treat a disease, you win, you lose. You treat a person, I guarantee you'll win, no matter what the outcome. Now here today, this room is full of medical students. Don't let them anesthetize you. Don't let them numb you out to the miracle of life. Always live in awe of the glorious mechanism of the human body. Let that be the focus of your studies and not a quest for grades, which will give you no idea what kind of doctor you will become.
Mr. Adams, please turn and
don't
address
wait
the
till
board.
you're on the ward to get your humanity back. Start your interviewing skills now. Start talking to strangers. Talk to your friends. Talk to wrong numbers. Talk to everyone.
Mr. Adams!
And cultivate friendships with those amazing people standing in the back of the room. Nurses that can teach you. They've been with people every day. They wade through blood and shit. They have a wealth of knowledge to share with you. And so do the professors you respect. The ones who are not dead from the heart up. Share their compassion. Let that be contagious.
Mr. Adams, I demand that you turn and address the board.
Sir, I want to be a doctor with all my heart. I wanted to become a doctor so I could serve others. And because of that, I've lost everything. But I've also gained everything. I've shared the lives of patients and staff members at the hospital. I've laughed with them. I've cried with them. This is what I want to do with my life. And as God is my witness, no matter what your decision today, sir, I will still become the best damn doctor the world has ever seen. Now, you have the ability to prevent me from graduating. You can keep me from getting the title and the white coat. But you can't control my spirit, gentlemen. You can't keep me from learning. You can't keep me from studying. So you have a choice. You could have me as a professional colleague, passionate, or you can have me as an outspoken outsider, still adamant. Either way, I'll probably still be viewed as a thorn. But I promise you one thing. I'm a thorn that will not go away.
Is that all?
I hope not, sir.
We will adjourn briefly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gets me every time. What'd you think? Anybody? Yeah? Did that kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about, right? If you get a chance to see the movie, it's amazing. It was like all those little kids were in the hospital and he was going in there being a clown and making them laugh. And they were like, "What are you doing? That's not okay." So it was really, anyway, I think that's a beautiful example of the medical model versus the psych rehab approach. Okay. And it's so wild because if Philip Seymour is in there also a character, and those are two people that you would that actually committed suicide, and they were amazing, talented actors that no one would have ever guessed that they had something going on. Still early, my goodness. Okay, let's keep going. All right. So, all right, now that we understand the foundations of psych rehab, right? Now, these are what the goals of psych rehab are, right? We want to promote rehabilitation and recovery, right? By enhancing the community integration, getting them into the community, maximize them, try to get them out in the community as much as possible, improving their quality of life and reducing hospitalizations, right? Such as has any okay, we're actually this is perfect to talk about this, Helen, actually. Where are you all? Because when I say reduce hospitalizations, such as respites. Anyone heard of Hacienda of Hope? That should sound familiar. So that's basically a respite. It's this home and it's just chill. The colors are so calm and beautiful on the wall. They have snacks, they have a guitar, they have a piano, just a place to go and just kind of reset and simmer down, right? And so we have these respites available instead of having to go to the hospital on a 5150. You see how we're trying to, so this is by reducing, getting those skills, maximizing these opportunities, these resources. So again, here we go with Pink Floyd here. So we talked about the nails, hygiene, right? See him all happy right here. So one of his goals, we went and got a manicure. And he was so stinking happy after this. You see him all with the cigar. He was like so stoked. Okay. And what's cool about it is working with him, wanting to do this together. It started out with having going to the deli and having breakfast, building that rapport with him at the village. Okay. And so we'd have doctor's appointments. Okay. And he was definitely had paranoid schizophrenia, uh, social isolation. He had his memory. He always thought he was in 1980 something. He never knew the year or the season. And he full-blown alcoholic. Okay. So if we had a doctor's appointment, and we'll talk more about harm reduction later with Guyton, is I would have to have 2 Hurricanes, which are those malt liquor drinks, in the back of my trunk when I'd have to take him to doctor's appointments so he wouldn't have withdrawals, DTs, delirium tremors, right, where he could die. So that's how, that's what we had to do to get him to appointment. So when working with him, we'd have to meet at the village. He'd meet me there in the morning, and then I'd take him to his doctor's appointment. Man, I'd be waiting and waiting and waiting. Where the heck is he? He'd show up. Next thing you know, I see him outside on the building going like this. What are you doing, Pink Floyd? We had an appointment. He's like, I'm like, you holding the building up or what? Right? He had already gotten hammered. So he's in a home, right? In what is it?
Boarding care.
Yeah. Thank you. It was that boarding care. And so basically, he had a place to go, and you couldn't leave the premises unless you took your meds, your psych meds, right? So 5:30, boom, he took his meds. He's straight to the liquor store. He goes straight to the liquor store, grabs his Hurricane. So he'd drink in the morning. So that would be like 5:36 a.m. So by the time I meet him, 8:30 at the village, he's gone, right? So, and he wouldn't eat. So I kind of figured this out when we're sitting. I'm thinking, maybe if we can somehow get some food in him when he gets to the village, so he has food and not so drunk, like, you know what I mean? Just kind of sober him up. So we wind up getting a food card for him where he can go and have a breakfast at the village while he's waiting to pick up his money. So we had a little bank there too. So he would go every day and pick up his $4.25, and he was happy as can be, because he'd pick up his Hurricanes and his smokes, and he was just so content with that. Okay. But we knew if he did have more money than that, he would drink himself to death pretty much. He just did not know how to stop. So anyway, so we did that. And where's I going with this? So next thing, okay, so we're sitting down having breakfast. We're talking about hygiene. How am I going to get this guy to start cleaning his fingernails or all that? Okay, so we're sitting down. Let's just say Luna and I are in there, right? And we're going to have lunch with Pink Floyd. I'm going to go, Luna, you know what? My hands are dirty. Pink Floyd, my hands are dirty. You want to go to the restroom with me? Let's go to the restroom and wash our hands before we eat, right? So we started doing that. I try to do that every time before we'd sit down. So it was just like, hey, let's go wash our hands. Next thing you know, I forgot. And Pink Floyd's like, hey, Renee, let's go wash our hands. You forget to wash your hands. And I was like, so little things like that. So he was so happy when he got this done. And it was just so exciting. So that's maximizing community integration, right? Getting them out there, getting them to the doctor's appointments, no matter what it takes, which is putting Hurricanes, if I have to put beers in the back of the trunk, we're still getting them out into the community, right? We're learning how to work with what their barriers are, and we minimize hospitalizations, right? Because we're working with them. And for him not to, because what he would do too is he would pass out, knock his head down, and wind up in the hospital, St. Mary's. And when we didn't see members, right, Helen, for a couple of days, we had to call the jails. We had to look through the jails and go through all the jails and the hospitals to try to find our people, right? So next thing you know, we got him an ID bracelet, right? And if found, contact, and it was our team on HIT that he was on, so one time they contacted me and I went over there. He had no idea where I came from. He's like, you saved my ass. And he talked about that for years, when it was like, dude, my number's on your bracelet. But it was just super, super cool. Okay. He also wanted to go to Catalina on a glass bottom boat, and he met with his financial planner, and he saved his money, right? And to go to Catalina, like I flexed my time to go with him on a Saturday. Do you know that he took off at that 5:30 in the morning, went and got drunk and missed the whole trip? I'm driving around looking for him. He was sitting between 2 parked cars drinking his Hurricanes and totally forgot. Yep. So, we do go like, hey, it's doing with rather than doing for. We set it up. We got to go. Consequences, right? He didn't want it. He didn't do it. But he was okay. So do you see what I'm saying? So this was something about maximizing community integration, however it is that we want to, for instance, Papa Bird taking them to the wellness center for cooking classes, maximizing community integration, right? Cool. You get the point? All right, characteristics now of psych rehab. I gave you a handout on your with values and principles, and it just gives you a longer list for you. But basically, it's just take a look at that on your own. But basically, it's all the same. So they're practical, empirical, right? Made make real life differences, right? And they're provided within the community to address their needs, and it's coordinated of services and advocacy. So recovery, it occurs outside the 9 to 5, Monday through Friday thing. So that's me doing outreach right when COVID hit. Okay. Right when COVID went out, and that's when everyone went remote, and only the nurses, or the doctors had the PPE to go out and do work. So I was still doing outreach. So that's me. And behind me it was on a Friday. It was raining. I was working with this 70-year-old little lady, Spitfire, with a mouth like a sailor. Okay. Who was dating this younger guy. So behind me are train tracks. And if you keep going, it ended in a field with just bushes, right? So I'd go out there, call her name, she'd come out. I'd give her meds in my med box right there. I'd take her blood pressure, her weight, all that stuff. We get on the phone, right? Providing services where they're at. We get on a phone and we do a telehealth care with Dr. Kane, right? I notice she's not feeling well. I know she's got all this temperature going on. And I'm like, she's got COVID, dude. She's totally got COVID. It's Friday. And do you know that she could get housing right now? All we needed was her ID, and she'd been putting it off for months. Okay. So here I am, and we got to talk about self-care, self-awareness, all that good stuff, us as peer support specialists. And like, we want to help people, right? But also it's ultimately their choice. She declined to go to the doctor. It's a Friday, okay? And I'm like, dude, she's gonna fucking die. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're already working on a hospice on wheels, but I'm thinking, what the hell, right? So I'm trying to talk to her and not tell her what to do, but I really think it's it'd be good. Her boyfriend comes out, and handsome native, 30 years younger than her, right? Because she's in her 70s. And he chewed me out. He's like, F you, blah, blah, blah. She doesn't need to go to the doctor. I spit on her feet and put some socks on it. You know what I mean? Like, his culture, like, he thought that was okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, fuck you, get out of here. Like, she don't need anything. So I had to walk away, and she's listening to him, right? And I'm thinking, what the heck? Okay, come down to it. It was COVID, but she never went to the hospital. Okay. I think it was a couple months after that, she was like, Renee, can we go to the DMV and get my ID? Let's go. You take that window of opportunity, right? So she gets her ID, we get her housed, right? And she's like, thank you, Renee, for not rushing me or pushing me and letting me do it at my own time. Trust me, behind here, I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, nah, but it's just, it's at their time, right? But it does make a real difference. We do it outside. We provide the services out there. We coordinate services. We do everything out in the field. We meet them where they're at. Questions so far? We good? All right. We're going to start getting into some group stuff. I know I'm talking a lot. Let's do guiding principles, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll get into an activity, okay? So early interventions, right? Guiding principles of this. We're basically, we intervene early, right? We individualize each service. Each of you have a different, unique thing going on, right? So everyone's services are going to be different. We want to maximize their involvement as much as possible, okay? And remember, it's their choice, right? We assess them in their normalized situations, meeting them where they're at, right? It's integrated, holistic approach. And what do I mean by holistic? Natural, just talking, right? Just like I was talking about K-Hulu at the pool, just naturally meeting those little old ladies doing the water aerobics, so those natural supports. Let's see what else. We focus on their skills. We focus on their skills, doing with rather than doing for, right? And we just want to do ongoing, accessible, coordinating services. So right here, this is a gentleman. That was his case manager. She was leaving, and you're going to have, okay, we're going to hear about warm handoffs. Any of you heard of a warm handoff? Yes, Adrian. Okay, cool. Apollo. So check it out. So she's doing a warm handoff. And what a warm handoff is if you're working with someone for a while and you get their trust and gain their trust, they're going to trust you, right? But if, like, let's say I'm going to be gone, and Ashley, just going to be like, okay, Ashley, just go and meet him. He's off the 110 freeway, off the side of the freeway, park at the gas station, walk up the freeway ramp. He's right there in the bushes. So you go and he's like, who the hell are you? Right. So what we want to do is a warm handoff. Like, I'm going to go with Ashley and I'm going to be like, hey, dude, Ashley's cool. She's going to work with you. I want to make sure that he's safe and feels safe. Right. So that's a warm handoff. Because it takes a while for them to trust you. So therefore, I want them to trust me and be like, hey, this person's cool. Like, you're in good hands. OK, so this gentleman here, we were working on getting him housing. Okay, he's been living on the side of that freeway. We did wind up getting him housing in San Pedro. It was a cool little place. And you see that mat that he's laying on right there? Okay, so we have housing first. So whenever we meet with our people, we get them housing right away. Okay, as much as we can. If it's a room and board, whatnot, right? Was it RO, right? Single room occupancy? SRO. Thank you. It's been a while in the field. So we get them someplace, right? So when we do the housing first, we provide them with their microwave, their bed, their nightstand, what the basics were, right? But realize, I think what people didn't realize, and I didn't realize, is that they're going to need more support when you house them, actually. Okay, so get this. We get him, he's in there, I go and check on him, and he's laying on his mat outside on the patio. He slept on the patio on his mat instead of the bed. And I'm thinking, what the hell? Well, think about it. He lived off the side of the 110 freeway for like 5 years. It was too damn quiet. I would never have thought that. So that's why he was sleeping in the patio, on the porch, on the patio thing with the noise. Okay. So gradually it was getting from that pad to the box mat, you know what I mean? To slowly getting him onto the bed. It took some time. So finding out about a person, what they like. Pink Floyd, oh, we were all about classic rock music, okay? Pink Floyd and I. Kay Hulu and I were all about talking about swimming, right? And then this gentleman here, he was actually a drummer in a one-time wonder band in the 80s. So he was like all drummer, and we're all music. We just talk music all the time. So he gets his place. He's finally getting acclimated, right? And we're meeting together. We go to the thrift store. What was it? The Salvation Army or something. We found an old set of drums, right? We got him some drums. Next thing you know, he's playing drums and he gets some life in him. You know what I mean? And it's like, wow, it's just such a different person, right? So you see these little things that those strength based, we working on them. What is their goal? He wants to get his own place, right? Super cool. Super cool. Unfortunately, he did pass away as well. He wound up having throat cancer. And when you get to know your people, you get to know their baseline and how they're acting. And if it's just something, he's not acting right? Something's not right. So Dr. Sai, let's go meet with them on Friday. And sure enough, they found something. But ongoing, accessible, we go out there, we meet them where they're at. Okay. So with that, we're going to next, when we come back, we're going to do an activity. I'm going to give you some vignettes. These are real scenarios that have happened out in the field. And we're going to go over them. You're going to put you in some groups, and we're going to talk about how you would approach this situation without, it's strength-based, without telling them what to do, that they can't do it. How would you go about it? Okay. So with that, it's 9:52. Let's come back at what, 10:02, 10:05? Let's come back at 10:05. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. I need some coffee and some stretching. All right. Let me see here. All right. Welcome back. Let's continue. All right. So we talked about Psych Rehab, the difference between the medical model and the Psych Rehab approach. Let's see. All right. Now we're going to, what would you do? Let's start with that. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to have 4 breakout rooms. You are going to have a vignette, and that should have been in your handout as well. We're going to have one on Bill, Rachel, Elizabeth, and Jamal. So here is Bill, an example. So we're not going to do this one right now, but this is an example of what they are, and this is going to be group one, okay? Will someone read, please?
What would you do? Bill is a person in your program you are getting to know. He is currently living in a boarding care facility, and his source of income is his SSI. He is 32 years of age and a natural born citizen of the U.S. He states that he has always liked politics and regularly attends city council meetings. He struggles with trying to stay organized in his thoughts and in his life. At times, he also has grand ideas which may or may not be what you consider realistic. He recently came to you with a period of clarity and indicated that he wants to run for office. He also stated that he doesn't want to bother with small time stuff and instead wants to run for president of the United States. I think you're on mute, Renee.
Oh, Renee.
Thank you. So what would you do? Without telling this person that they can't or not, just engaging them, meeting them where they're at, what would you do? Okay. So we're going to have Bill. This is Bill. This is one of the groups. And then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and see if, can you see that I pulled something else up, another document?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's do this. Since we have a nice size group here, here's Rachel. So this is going to be another scenario. Can someone read Rachel, please? Thank you. Thank you, Apollo. You rock.
Rachel is somewhat new to your program. She is 27 years old and has been living independently for the last 5 years. Her primary source of income is SSI. Although she does supplement it with odd jobs she gets from time to time. She is very articulate and keeps herself and her surroundings neat and clean. She does struggle with delusional thoughts and can be unrealistic in her ideas. You have tried getting her interested in working since she does possess the basic attributes that should make her successful. In your meetings, she has repeatedly indicated that she wants to be an actor.
Okay. All right. And then we have Elizabeth. Who can read for Elizabeth, please? I appreciate you all. Thank you. Bueller.
I could read it.
Oh, thank you.
Elizabeth is someone in your program who has begun who has begun to trust you, something she has had difficulty doing in the past. She is 22 and recently moved from a group living situation to one where she shares a 2-bedroom apartment with another person from your program. One of the things that attracts you to Elizabeth is her passion for the universe. She will talk about stars, planets, all sorts of celestial bodies. She is fond of saying that one day she wants to travel to space. Recently, she came to see you, excited and practically shouted out that she wants to become an astronaut.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'll do Jamal. Jamal is someone in your program with whom you have a pretty good relationship with. He's 28 years old, lives in a single room occupancy hotel in which he pays with a combination of income from part-time work and SSI benefits. The part-time work consists of cleaning up and helping out at a gas station car mechanic not far from where he lives. He's attended college several times, and although he's had success in math and geography-oriented classes, other subjects just don't interest him, and he doesn't see the point in them. The result is he usually ends up quitting. In your conversations with him lately, he said he feels like lately he's in a rut and has indicated that he would like to learn to fly, perhaps becoming an airline pilot. Okay, so what would you do? Okay, and those are some examples. We're going to go into rooms for 15 minutes.
15.
And then when we come back, we'll all just talk about what we would do. So to give you a little bit of an idea, and Helen, this will probably be a first for you, but so I was working with someone. He was in his late 60s. He was on Social Security. Okay. He lived with paranoid schizophrenia, OCD, right? He did not eat well. He did not eat. And so it was really hard to do a gravely disabled on him because he would eat once a week when I'd go meet with him. He was throwing his trash outside his window. He lived on the second floor, okay, because he did not like to touch metal or cash money, okay. So therefore, he didn't want what touch the door handle or the back door or the dumpster because it was metal. So that's why he would not go outside. So my job was to work with him to try to get him to eat. So anytime I had to get him to do something to get out, we had to do it with food. Like he would go to, do they even still have Claim Jumper? This guy was like bones, okay, bone thin. When we were really concerned about his health, and yeah, we need to put a hold on this guy because he's not eating. But when I would take him out, at least minimum 4 hours with this guy, okay, he would eat 2 meals, 4 root beers, and a freaking dessert. There's no way I could put a hold on the guy, okay, because he was eating once a week. Anyway, so it was hard to get him. So what do you do to get the guy to stop throwing his trash out from the top window, right? He's denying it. I didn't do it. I didn't fucking do it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, all right. Well, I see the same plastic bags you got. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm listening to them. I'm agreeing with them. Okay, what can we do here? What do we do? The managers are calling you saying, hey, we're going to evict this guy if he doesn't start putting his trash out. What do we do? What do we do? He's in denial. I'm having a conversation with it. Next thing you know, I get a call. You need to get over here over right now, Renee. You need to go over there. They need you over there. Something's going on with your member. He flicked his trash out that second story window. And guess what? It went into the neighbor downstairs window. That guy rushed upstairs and was almost going to beat his ass. Let me tell you, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like, I think we have a problem here. So what did I do? We tried a diaper genie. You know what I mean? What do we do? How do we get him to start putting his trash in the trash can? Okay. Gloves. I was a nurse, so I had to do medication. So I always had to wear gloves. He liked my purple gloves. Ah, really? You like purple gloves? You know, I could get black or blue ones for you, you know? So we started with that. Put on a glove. Let's open that door handle, baby. Right? So I followed him, and you know what I mean? And so eventually we get down to the dumpster. He would not, and I agree with them. I didn't want to touch that nasty dumpster either, but we got to do this for you to be able to keep your housing. It took months and months and months to finally get him taking his trash out. And he used gloves. All right. Eventually we got him out going grocery shopping, even though if it was at 2 a.m, he still went grocery shopping, right? Anyway, so there's an example, something you don't want to tell them no, right? We want to kind of work with where they're at. Was that a good example at all? I hope so. Okay, good, Helen. I'm like, that one just came out of nowhere. And then one more example. Okay, someone comes in. They obviously need medications. Okay, the sister's bringing them in. They're like, he needs help, right? The guy is telling me, I don't need medication. God's going to help me. God's going to heal me. Okay. But what's going on here? He's like, do you see my ears and how long my arms are and how long my ears are? And I'm like, he's all, the demons, they pull my ears and my arms and they go up my butt and like telling me all this stuff. And I'm going, you know, that's got to be really scary that's got to be scary. I'm so sorry, you know. I'm like, hey, you know, we don't want to say you got to take meds, you know, you should really try, you know, there's some medications that can work. No, God's going to help me. God's going to help me. Okay. I keep seeing him, you know, every 2 weeks or whatever. He's seen the doctor. We come again. No, God's going to help me. And finally I was like, you know what? Do you think maybe God created this medication for you to help you? And I said, listen. You could try it once. If you don't like it, don't do it again. Right? Took another couple weeks. He comes in. He finally, you know, still, they're pulling my arms. They're pulling, nothing's working. He tries it. Okay. Next time he comes in, oh, no, it's not working. 3 weeks. I'm like, but is it helping a little bit? You know what I mean? Like, next thing you know, this guy's coming in months later, having a conversation with me, gets housing. I mean, got a part-time job. I mean, just a completely different person. But do you see what I mean? I can't tell him you're not, what you're seeing or what you're thinking or believing is not true. You know what I'm saying? So I hope those give you some examples. But these are going to be a little different. These are real situations that happened at the village, right? So what would you do? How would you go about it? All right. I hope I give you, I just get so excited about this stuff. I miss the field. Anyway, so let's do this 15 minutes. All right. And then when we come back, like, I mean, this is such a sweet group. Like, we'll just, who wants to be a spokesperson, or if you all want to touch on it, we have enough time. And yeah, have fun with this. Okay. So I think, Helen, did you label the rooms maybe? Or do we need to just, you're on mute, my friend, lovely.
They're all labeled.
Yay! Okay, so everyone good to go? We got this? How would you go about it?
Okay, here you go. Like
Have
Harry
fun.
Potter, we're going to transport.
I think I need to start watching those movies.
Yeah,
My
they're
kids are
good.
too small. They were afraid, so I never
Oh,
watched them.
yeah,
They were
yeah.
so scared of it. I'm like, what? I'm pulling shit out of my ass to try to keep it going.
You know what? It's really good though. I mean, these are the stories. That's how they're going to learn what to do. I mean,
Okay.
I honestly,
Okay.
like the paperwork, like the rules or whatever, they've got that.
Yeah,
They've
yeah,
got it
yeah.
in front of them. I think this is super helpful. I
Okay,
really
cool. Because
do.
I think it was a smaller group then, and I'm thinking these vignettes are getting old, and I'm starting to think of things really ones that I had to work with for a long time to get where they were. And I'm thinking, okay, you may not work with something this severe, but what would you do?
Right, right, right,
Thank you,
right.
because I just kind of winged it. I was like, wow, I got to take some time here,
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it's good.
Okay, cool, cool. And if you have anything, please jump in and I mean,
Okay.
please do. If you have any stories, you're like, oh, hey, what about this?
Yeah, yeah. And I have a couple story. I have some vignettes too,
Do
stories.
you?
But I think it's good for advocacy.
Oh, yeah. Let me know.
So
Throw it in there. This is
it's
going to
a
be
little
good.
bit a different angle rather than outreach, but it's
Yeah,
the same, like, yeah.
I love it. Oh,
No, I mean they're wrapped. I mean, they're just
right.
watching.
Okay, cool. Because I'm like, am
They're
I still
paying
got everybody?
attention.
They're like, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I just want to make sure I'm not. Oh,
Yeah, no, oops.
they're.
Oh.
I think I have my the sugar from my jelly on my crumpet. All right, yeah, rare form right now. Okay, you'll see this. I'm only allotted so many cups of coffee, huh, Helen?
Right,
Okay.
right.
All right. So how was that? Yeah. Very cool. Okay, I'd love to hear what you all have. Okay, let's start with Bill. I have Quinn, Isabella, and Luna. How was that? All right, he wants to be president.
I feel like my response to him would be like, okay, that's great. That's definitely possible. You can do it. But first we need to make sure that you have stable housing, that you have a job, stable income, because a president can't be president without those basic needs. So trying to like focus it more on what basic or like what needs he has that need to be met right now, but not discouraging him from attempting to run for president if he wants to. And we were just kind of joking around saying that at this point, like it seems like anyone could be president, like even Kanye ran for president.
My
So
God.
it's like running for
He's got a
president
point.
is
You got a
possible,
point. Y'all got a point. Shit. Maybe we need to redo this one.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else want to touch on that one? All right. So, yeah. So, first of all, it's like, so what do you need to be president? Not to make them feel like they don't know, but I'm like, hey, so I don't know what it means to, I don't know what to do. So we went to the education room, went online, right? Well, he's not old enough. He's only 32, right? So what do? We get him involved in like start with the city hall get-togethers, right? Getting involved in those community get-togethers. And then of course, the longer we did the research and they saw what consists of needing that, they're like, never mind. but continue to go to the town hall meetings. And then also get this, at the village, I told you they get community together. So on Wednesdays they all got together and had this meeting where everybody would be like, I woke up on time this morning. Yay! I filled out their application. Yay! Like the tiniest little wins, you know what I mean? So he got to be on the board on that and be a part of it. So therefore, yeah, we didn't get quite to what you said in that moment of whatever delusions or whatnot that you had going on, but we went and did the research, right? What do you need, first of all? Let's go through this, go through the steps, and at least put them out there, give them an opportunity in the playing field, right? Provide those opportunities to empower themselves. So right on. But I love that. Yes, that was a really good self-responsibility, talking about, okay, do you have your house? Like, you know what I mean? Talking about the needs and what you're going to need. So you see how that works? Without telling them, I didn't hear anyone say, no, you can't do that. Or, you know what I mean? Like, right on. I love it. Okay, room 2, Rachel, right? She's new to the program, 27 years old, living independently the last 5 years. She has SSI. She does odd jobs from time to time. She's pretty articulate, keeps her surroundings neat and clean. She does struggle with a little bit of delusional thoughts, right? Can be unrealistic in her ideas. She tried getting her interested in working since she does. Okay, so she does possess those skills. But in your meeting, she says, I want to be an actor. Room 2, what'd you come up with? Let me see who was in room 2.
I think
Apollo, Ingrid, and Valerie. Yeah.
Ingrid had put something in the chat too.
Well, I was kind of like saying, like, I think we kind of came with like a routine and slash plan for her. Like, we would kind of say something around like we would create a weekly like check-in with her to calm like certain delusions, just to make sure like she remembers it's all in her head, and like start with some of those practices. And we'll take her information, like, yeah, she wants to be an actor, and we will like not say like, oh, that's impossible, or whatever. Would like help her with those goals if that's what she wants. And as well, we could like help look for certain sources that are like, a free program or something that would help her with just basic acting skills, and then talk to her. And I mean, as she's like learning these as she's practicing these acting skills, we would kind of like role play with her, so she kind of gets into the like, action, kind of motivate her a little more. And then kind of talk about the responsibility if she wants to move forward with this idea, the expenses she would have to take in order to like maybe accomplish these stuff. And kind of just be a little more realistic with her about like, certain things she might have to do to like be able to reach that top goal.
Yeah.
And then so on.
I love it. So we're being real with them on what you're going to really need, but not blowing smoke up their ass too. You know what I mean? Not saying like, oh, you're setting them up for failure or whatnot. Apollo, I see you smiling. Okay, so what? Anyone else? Thank you so much, Valerie or Apollo. Have anything to add on that, or was that? Does Ingrid need to drop the mic? Oh yeah, I'm all okay. Are we good? I'm all about field trips. Okay. I'm all about giving them opportunities in the playing field, right? And I hear her saying she wants to be an actor. Well, shit, let's go to the Long Beach Playhouse and go check it out, baby. So, of course, I took her to the Long Beach Playhouse. We go and check it out. She starts talking to people, right? Next thing you know, she starts volunteering and handing the programs out, right? She starts sweeping around. Yeah, right. So basically just taking her there, checking it out. Okay, next thing you know, we're going to Long Beach Community College, looking up acting classes or whatnot. Okay, so that's where it ended with me is, hey, let's go check it out. Take her to, take them to go see, I'm all about field trips, man. You know what I mean? Like, just go there with them. They could check it out for themselves. Awesome. Great job. I love it. I didn't hear them telling them what to do at all. Did you, Helen?
No,
I
it
think
was
you all
great.
treated them like they're the expert for sure. Okay, but remember, like it's always about that connection, right? Having that rapport, getting to know them, what they like, getting to know them as a person, and then it's like boom, you have this relationship. And as long as you're truthful with them, you know what I mean? They're going to be honest with you too. And they, like I said, they could sniff the bullshit. I could sniff the bullshit. I know all of you could probably sniff the bullshit, right? You can't bullshit a bullshitter. Sorry, I got a potty mouth. All right, thank you. Elizabeth now. She's someone in your program that has begun to start trusting you, right? She has difficulty, which she had difficulty in the past. She's 22, recently moved from a group situation where she shares a two-bedroom apartment with another person in your program, right? One thing that attracts you to her is her passion for the universe. She talks about stars, planets, all sorts of celestial bodies. Okay, she shouted out, I want to be an astronaut. All right, room 3, Elizabeth. Who do we have? What do you got for us? Let's break it down. We got Adrian, Alondra, and Ashley.
Yes. So we discussed a lot of things that we could do. Initially, we said we wanted to research a little bit on astronomy itself, because me personally, I don't know much about it. And to be able to share that interest with her, it'd be best for me to also know why she likes it so much. And then maybe even ask her, what about it intrigues you so much? And then we said we would take her to an astronomy museum, so like the Griffith Observatory or the Science Center. Just could be a fun little hangout together. And then since she's 22, it's very realistic that she can go back to school and actually become an astronaut. So we would definitely pitch that. And if she's interested, we could research together the schools with her or places that offer that. I know one of my team members also said that we could possibly see if there's like programs that already help you go to college like that.
Yeah.
And then if she has a job or not, we could pitch possibly a job at the SpaceX or Science Center, or if not, volunteer at either one of those so she can continue growing her interest. But yeah, that's what we said.
I love it. Anyone else? That's awesome. You know what I did? I went in there and brought her some glow in the dark stars and moons and stuff to put on her ceiling. It was awesome. You know what I mean? Kind of make it fun. Of course, we went to the Griffith Observatory too. So awesome, just looking into classes or whatnot. So that's as far as I went. Very good. I love it. And a lot of Girl Scouts or lifetime Girl Scouts were astronauts as well. Jamal, someone in your program you've been pretty good relationship with. He 28, lives in a room, single room occupancy, has income and a part-time job, right? He's attended college several times. He does like math and geography, but nothing else interests him, right? He eventually ends up quitting. He says he feels like lately he's in a rut and he'd like to learn how to fly, perhaps become a pilot. What do you have room for Jamal? And that was Ariel and Devin.
Yeah, so for Jamal, just starting off with what Luna mentioned, um getting him to kind of line up his needs with the needs of becoming a pilot. Getting like the ID renewed, health like physical to see if you're flight ready. And also just researching and looking into the steps, maybe going to the Museum of Flying in Santa Monica. And additionally, they mentioned that he works as a mechanic, so I know that there's a lot of like intricacies involving mechanics with cars and
Yeah.
the mechanics of an airplane. So I know there are airplane mechanics. There are definitely a lot of windows of opportunity for Jamal out there.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Anyone else want to touch on that? It was beautiful. Yep. Took him to the Long Beach airport. Woohoo! Let's go check it out. Let's go meet a pilot, right? Meet a pilot, get to go in the cockpit, check it out, right? I love field trips. Totally love field trips. But yeah, thank you for that. I mean, yeah, going back to school is just like I said, one step forward, two step back. Let's do this together, baby, right? You just need that cheerleader. I'm like, I'm the cheerleader doing cheetah flips for you over here. You got this. Si se puede. I'm so out of it right now. Thank you, everyone. That was really cool. Anybody want to touch on that? Is that cool? You see, can you now see what my goal is for you to be able to see Psych Rehab in action? Oh, yeah, right. And it's so funny because when I'd be introduced to any of the members as their nurse, introduced as a psych tech, they got so pissed off at me and would be like, I don't need you fucking analyzing me, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm not that kind of, that's not what I do. No. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. All right, now we are going to get into the stages of change. And this is something you need for the, just to know about these for the exam as well, all of this, but this is good to know. And I like to give you a story with it, so hopefully this sticks with you. All right. So Prochaska and De Clementi, stages of change. Actually, it started in the 70s, and they did these stages of change working with people in rehab for drug addiction. Okay. Then they realized, we could use this for other stuff too. Right? Okay. Did I tell you about Papa Bird that I worked with? Oh, yeah, going to the wellness center, cooking classes. This is Papa Bird right here. This was my buddy, man. He was kind of grumpy old man, but he was cool. He'd always say on his walker, I'd run faster than him. Like, you can't get me. He'd be all, hey, you, smack her. And I'd be like, we'd mess around. And we'd always, okay, so my incentive with this guy was Popeye's chicken. I mean, if I, had an incentive of Popeye's chicken, he'd do whatever he needed to do. Okay. But he didn't know how to manage his money. Okay, that's the thing. He got Social Security. They would give it to him once a month, and by the third, he'd be cleaned out, no money. Okay, so we have him in a sober living. He's in his mid-60s, a sober wet living. Anybody heard what a sober wet living is? No, it's one of those sober livings, but if you go to the sidewalk, you could drink as long as you're not on the property. Okay, so there's several of these places, but it's the place we got him, right? So Mr. Papa Bird dealt with social isolation. I told you he was in that one room in the kitchen with the bugs on him and stuff, right? This is Papa Bird right here. So he had a goal. He wanted to get chompers because he was tired of smacking his steaks. So of course we went and got him some dentures. That was a goal. And then after that, he starts wearing cleaner shirts, looking all handsome, and standing a little taller. It was actually kind of cool. So stages of change. He'd run out of money. Okay. So he's with all these young guys and he's going through, what do they call it? Survivor's guilt, because he is in his mid-60s, that his family, his friends, everyone's passing. Okay. And he's got the survivor's guilt. So him and I would meet with Dr. Kane for his, to meet the psychiatrist, and I'd be along with. They wanted me to be because we built such a rapport, and they trusted me that I would join them on their therapy sessions to help them feel comfortable, as long with their permission, of course, right? So Prochaska's stages of change, and I'm going to use Papa Bird as an example. Okay, so stage 1, pre-contemplation. Okay, not acknowledging that there's a problem, but and that this behavior needs to be changed. So he's running out of money by the third day that he gets his Social Security check. Okay, just wiped out. So therefore, he's always hungry. Okay. Stage 2, contemplating. Right. People, this is when you start realizing that there might be a problem here, right? And start seriously thinking about doing something about it. So what he was doing, because he was kind of like a mentor to these younger guys there, right? Because he's an older elder. So he had a walker. He would give these guys his EBT card with the pin, have them go to the liquor store and buy them some beers and cigarettes. Yeah. Okay. Of course, he tells them, buy yourself a beer and some cigarettes too. Then he goes to Popeye's Chicken and buys pizzas and chicken for everybody, and he's out of money. He was so gracious and so generous to everyone. So then it got to the point, okay, you're running out of money. Let's Meals on Wheels, baby, right? Finding the Salvation Army for him, food bank, right? Once a week, he'd get a box of food. Like, we started finding resources for him to get food to supplement the money he was blowing. Okay. Fine. Next thing you know, he's like, I'm so sick of this Meals on Wheels. It's gross, blah, 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 blah. Well, we have a payee at the village. We can help budget money. You meet with a financial planner once a month. We do your budget. You save some money, right? And then also we talk about stages. Is that when you do the financial planning, you go on stages. Stage 1 is you go in every day for a pickup at the little bank. Okay. And it's so funny because at the village, they made the village bank because not everyone has IDs. So they made everyone little IDs where they could come in and it's like practicing. It was like a little bank that they would go in with their card and get their money. It was pretty cool practice. So we were like, okay, let's meet with this determination. Okay. He's committed. He says, okay, I want to meet with this financial planner. I'm ready to have you as our payee. Okay. I got to do something with this. I'm tired of this Meals on Wheels and this crappy Salvation Army food donation, which got good stuff, by the way. He's just being cranky. Stage 4. Next, you know, action stage, baby. He starts meeting with the planner, right? What stage 1? Having a money pickup once a week, bringing receipts for everything that you buy. Okay, being his case manager or his nurse or whatnot, you know, his peer support specialist, if he needed something big, like let's say a new tent, new shoes, or a jacket or something like that, they would give me the money. We'd go together, pay for it, and I'd have to give back the receipts for him when it were bigger purchases, right? So if he starts doing that every day, and the next thing you know, he gets two pickups a week. You get it? So that he's able to manage more money with himself. So then he starts doing this where he's doing only 2 pickups a week, right? That's that action stage. He's meeting once a month with the planner. Maintenance, he keeps going with it, bringing in those receipts, getting on level 2. Then the recurrent stage, also called the relapse stage, right? And relapse is basically a part of recovery. It's part of the thing, right? Like they say sobriety. Maybe you don't physically go and drink, but emotionally we could relapse right beforehand, that thinking before. So here we go. This is when they just slip back. So next thing you know, he's not bringing the receipts. He's starting to buy friends stuff, like spending the money like he shouldn't. Then he's coming in yelling at Rochelle and me, I need more money. And we're like, no, you got to wait till your budget. I need, you know what I mean? It was like, no, natural consequences, self-responsibility we talk about, right? So basically he slipped. So what do? We had to go and start again. So let me ask you this, and this is what you'll usually see with stages of change. I'm just using Papa Bird to really stick that so you could see what those stages of change are, and I hope that helps you. You know, the pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance, and then boom, you fall down again. Let me ask you this. So Papa Bird relapsed. Does he need to go back to stage 1? No. Why, Ingrid? Why doesn't he, you know, where do you think? Where should he go?
All right here. Because it's just like it's a small trip. It's not like, oh, you did this and it's just like you have to do it all over again, right? It's just something like some people just fall back down, but then it doesn't matter. You can just get them back up and like retract. Doesn't mean like everything's over and you're done with.
Yeah. It's not like, oh, we're gonna go back and you don't know it's a problem, right? So that's good. No, you don't have to go to step 1. We meet them where they are at and we go from there. Cool? Yeah, I like it. I like it. All right, so what does this all mean? Holy cow, the money, we're impeccable with time. Okay, so what does this all mean? How you treat people is freaking everything. Okay, my buddy right here, Pink Floyd. Okay, I told you he would hold up the buildings because he'd be so hammered, and then he'd trip and fall and stuff. And he's like, "Oh, it's my what did he say? It's like my equilibrium, you know, my balance, my nerves." So, of course, see this picture here? I took him to go see the neurologist. I'm not showing it, am I? Or I am. I took him to the neurologist and they did a test on him to see if it was his balance, right? Then we see, like, I'm not going to tell him no. I went ahead and took him to the doctor, let him see for himself. Yeah, no nerve damage. He was drinking, he was drunk. Okay, let's just say it here. So, getting to know him, he's doing a peace out, so happy. I noticed he wasn't feeling well and he wasn't eating anymore. And he joked all the time. I made a joke book with him. We really did make a little joke book for a whole year. I wrote down all his little jokes he would tell me, and then I have him draw a picture. He's like, I don't know how to draw a picture, but he drew all these little things. So I made a book for him in the memory of him. Sorry. He wasn't feeling good. He wound up passing out. Like, okay, took him to the doctor. He's saying he was like, you know, something's my ear hurts, and it was like getting him lozenges, all that stuff. And finally, I took him to see Erin at the doctor and at the MSC, and I'm like, no, can you take a look? Something's not right with him. It's not him. And sure enough, you should have seen her face. She saw there's just this huge mass in his throat. Okay. So I told you he was an alcoholic. So what he was doing, and I didn't realize it until later, like I was coordinating an appointment at his room and board, and he had a bucket and he was drinking and throwing up. Drinking and throwing up. And then I think about this now and I was like, fuck, he couldn't hold the drink down no more. But he was such an alcoholic that he just kept doing it. And he looked at me and he goes, am I gonna die? And I was like, that was my first time where I was like, oh shit. Right. And I was like, again, another Friday, if you don't go to fucking hospital with me right now, you're gonna die. Right. So they wind up, I finally, St. Mary's, it was horrible, and I to drop them off, they let them go right away. I found them in a fucking parking lot. Excuse my French. I get so angry about this. With still an IV port in them. They could have gotten so much trouble not watching him, right? And the room would be dirty, his pillow on the floor. I come in and we have our badge, and they just, oh, someone's here to represent them. But it just so happened that he got a nurse. I begged the paramedics to take him to Memorial Hospital, right? Long Beach Memorial. And I'm just like, man, every time he's getting sent back home, he's getting sent back home, and I'm advocating my ass for him. And who comes out? This doctor. She was an intern with the doctor that would go and do outreach with me at the MSC. So she worked with this population. And she just embraced him and loved him and got him into a hospice, right? And we had that conversation with him. What's going on? He's like, I'm hungry. He has a feeding tube. I want Arby's. I want a chili cheese dog. Those were his favorite. And I'm like, honey, you got a tube. Like, remember that conversation we had? And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, I'm ready. I'm ready. Right. So he did pass away. And so when we meet with them, you're going to hear about 5 wishes as well. Maybe not everyone, huh, Helen? So basically 5 wishes when you're working with people, if you're doing street outreach, right? It's basically, God, advance directive, right? They write down what they want, what they don't want. And if you had 3 people sign it as witnesses, it was golden. So what we would ask, I'd be like, Pink Floyd, if you were to have 2 songs playing at your life celebration, what would they be? Oh, God, you guys aren't going to know what I'm talking about. He said Barracuda from Heart, and Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare. These are rock and roll 70 songs. Okay. So this was a celebration of life. I made these flyers, and at the village, we would put memorials for them because they didn't have any family. So we did a memorial, and I served chili cheese dogs, and I had those 2 songs blaring when everybody walked in. I gave everybody a book of his little jokes and stuff like that. But anyway, the next day I heard nothing but Pink Floyd songs in my car, and I knew he was with me. Yeah, it was pretty cool. But anyway, with that, I so hope this helped with y'all. Quiz time really quick before we go for our break. All right, a consumer tells a peer support specialist that they want to go back to work, but they're worried they won't be able to handle the stress after not working for 4 years. How would the peer support specialist respond in a strength-based way? Now, remember, I want you to write this acronym and try to get it down. PICS, P-I-C-S. Is it person-centered? Is it inclusive? Is it strength-based, right? Or is it person-centered and strength-based when we're answering these? So A, right? They just feel like they can't handle the stress. So A, the peer support specialist and consumer work together to brainstorm how to turn that big goal into small goals, okay? B, the peer support specialist tells the consumer that going back to work is not a big deal, but the peer support specialist can apply to jobs on their behalf to make it easier. Talk about doing with rather than doing for, right? C, the peer support specialist explores with the consumer to focus on the gifts and strengths of the individual that would allow the consumer to see themselves as their best. Or D, the peer support specialist tells the consumer it's been too long since they've worked last and they will not be able to do it. What do you think? Drum roll. Carlos is not here for his drum roll. I see Apollo taking themselves off the mute. What are you thinking?
Oh, see.
So someone says they think sometimes we get people
like stuck in between like 2.
Yes. So remember, there's always going to be 2 bunk answers and then 2 right answers, but one's like rightest, I guess.
Definitely want to choose C. I feel like that's
okay. C, right? Okay, let's go. Booyah! C, baby. And when we talk about KSA dimensions on the blueprint for studying for the exam, KSA is knowledge, skills, and abilities, and it's going to be under dimension 4, recovery support. Okay, and when you take the exam, I told you they break it down into 8 categories. This is category 4. And why is because you provide consensual, individualized, ongoing guidance, coaching, and support to ensure self-determination for individuals. Okay, Psych Rehab, we talked about it, self-determination, right? Coaching, we're going to be doing a lot of that. Does anybody have any questions on how that worked? I think, Apollo, you said between C and what was the other one? A, right? Okay, so let's take a look at those. A, you, this peer support specialist, and we call our member or whatnot, the consumer, work together to brainstorm how to turn the big goals into smaller goals. So yeah, we're collaborating, right? But C, peer support specialist, we explore the consumer to focus on the gifts and strengths of the individual that would allow the consumer to see themselves at their best. Strength-based, right? Inclusive, person-centered. You see how it just has more, you know, out of those four, you have two, or, you know, kind of work it out. But yes, the answer is C. And then thank you. You all freaking got this. And I can't wait to see more magic unfold. It's lovely to see all the magic happen in the room on this side when you all come in and just kind of like, oh, I don't know what's going on here. And then you're just loving each other and smiles and fact change makers, man. Anyway, thank you for listening to me ramble. I hope you got something out of that. You got this. And like I said, we're going to have a killer exam prep later on your last day, and do your evaluations for Psych Rehab. We're going to take a 10-minute break, then we're going to change gears and go back with Helen, and she's going to do the role of advocacy. It's going to be really good. You're in for a treat. So thank you all. Let's take a 10-minute break and return at 11:12 or 11:11, right?
11:11. That's a good number.
Make a wish, baby. Oh, that's a good sign. Okay.
We're gonna talk about the